across my elbows. That's just the way it goes. And now my hair it hurts. She took my favorite shirt, left me bobbing in the middle of the pool. Down I go to the only place I know when I can be deep down in that unified field. That's where I am a free man. That's where I am a free man. That's where I am a free man. That's where I am free man. I bought a broken robot. I should have kept my wood clock. It held the time straight. It made me never late. Low gave me phony mushrooms. It's Lola phony mushrooms. He left me staring at the stars all by myself.
thought my heart was closed, but now I feel it open like doors to home with you. I think of us in fields of light, where fireflies in the night warm the lavender. I waited out for you. I see you like a dream. I never should have seen. Your fiction teases me. I wonder if the path is the right. What's left of the night makes my heart wonder. I waited out for you. I waited out for you.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Ben from Universal Audio, and welcome to a very special show. We're joined today by Fab Dupont, and he's going to take us through synchronizing Luna with Ableton Live to do music production, overdubs, and all sorts of fun stuff in sync, thanks to the new MIDI beat clock features inside of Luna that we just released yesterday. So this is cutting edge technology right now. This is cutting edge tutorials happening live here on UA Live. And of course, to help me do this, we've got the one and only Fab Dupont. How you doing, Fab?
I'm great, and it's just not me today. There's also Michael Valiado. Hello. Who is pretty good at playing this. How many strings are we talking? Six guitar. It's a guitar.
Uh-huh.
So today we're gonna do like a bunch of creative work.
Nice.
And the reason why I wanted to do this is because I work with a lot of people who work in Ableton,
Mm-hmm.
and the workflow is all right. So they make their beat in Ableton, and then they send me stems, right?
Yep.
So that's great, but very often the producers who work in Ableton also have to record these human being things, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like this is an example of a human being right here. There's other kinds. There are kinds that make sound with their voice.
Mm-hmm.
There are kinds that make sounds with their like banging on stuff.
Yep.
And so so recording human beings is quite difficult in Ableton. It's doable. You can send the hate mail wherever you want. But for all intents and purposes, when you're in a hurry and you want to make good records, it's quite difficult to record vocals or guitars or bass or drums in Ableton.
Yeah.
The grouping feature
I was
it's not designed for that. It's a DJ tool.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine for bringing like one or two things in, but like whenever you go to like comping or you're recording with effects, like
you can't record with effects unless you just can't. But that comping is one thing. But say you work with a singer who wants to do 720 takes.
mm-hmm.
I never have that problem, but you may. So you can end up with 720 tracks in Ableton. That's not what it's set up to do.
Yeah.
It's set up to do other things super well. And I make plenty of music in Ableton. I work a lot with Stelios, Fili.
Yep.
And he works in Ableton. Now he's starting to use Luna quite a bit, but he works in Ableton for all the beat parts, and he has for years. And so it's been a real problem. But Luna is great for tracking humans because that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
So now, since yesterday, you're able to synchronize the two of them, and I'm going to show you how. And I think that's going to solve a lot of issues for a lot of people.
So this way you can produce and do what you're used to doing inside of Live and do what it does well, which is stretching things around, looping things up, MIDI production, VIs. There's so many positives for using Ableton on the production side, but now you're able to synchronize. Basically what we're going to do here, right, is you're going to have Ableton running and Luna running side by side
at the same time.
And Luna is going to be telling Ableton, hey, let's play bar 10 and keep going, or hey, let
me show you. So I have because I tried to explain it to somebody here, and they were like, huh? And then I showed them, and they're like, oh, okay. So this is a beat we made with Stelios. Stelios started it, and then I added some stuff to it, and it's in Ableton right now. I'm gonna play it. And then goes here. Cool, right? So this was for a French artist we were bidding, and so Stelios started the beat. He sent it to me in Ableton. I added some stuff, sent it back to him. He added more stuff. We worked that way. Okay.
Nice.
So this is where we're at right now. The artist did not take the beat, so we can use it for this today. It's awesome.
Nice.
Now, say I want to record Michael playing on that. I really don't enjoy recording humans in Ableton, especially humans with a time like Michu does. I want the stuff to fall where he put it on. So
Mhm.
I have now Luna right here. Okay. And what I've done is I've set the output of Ableton to go out to a physical output of my Apollo.
Mhm.
And then I'm in Luna and I bring Ableton back onto a track to be able to listen to it. Now we're doing this so that you guys on the internet can listen to it. Here, all we would have to do is say Ableton to go out to the Apollo driver and Luna, and they will both go to the Apollo driver. But this is actually nice because now when I play the beat, I see it in Luna and I can process it. So you could imagine that if you had several outputs, you could actually route the full output of your Ableton session straight into Luna and mix it there.
Yeah, and this is really similar. A couple months ago in office hours, I showed using Ableton. I was using Ableton with my analog summing rig, where I was using the multiple outputs of Ableton, passing through the summing, and then capturing that back into Luna, just like how you have it now. So that was kind of the elaborate, overcooked version of exactly what we're showing off again here.
So the thing here, by the way, for those of you who are asking yourself, why would you want to do that? That, for example, from this point on, when Stilly is going to send me a session, he's just going to send me his Ableton thing.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't have to untangle all his sends and whatever the hell he did. I'm just going to go through the Ableton session and then I'm just going to send it to Luna in stems.
Yeah.
That way he doesn't have to stem out and he can actually do changes on his session down the road. Which
and you can recapture the same stems.
Happens. Yeah, exactly. So it's a good workflow, but there was one so people have been able to do this. There was any questions from the peanut gallery on this?
Just folks asking if what we're using is Rewire here. No, this is not. This is physical wire.
This is an actual wire. Real wires.
Real cables connecting.
No re.
Yeah.
And soon, I think it's safe to say that you'll be able to use the virtual channels to do that. Right now, it's not functional, but it will be functional in the next rev of Luna. So you'll be able to do it without physical wires, just using the virtual channels, which are quite misunderstood, but incredibly powerful in the Luna environment. So we did, there's so much stuff going on this rig to be able to make this in real time for the internet. We did the wire. The actual physical wire.
One of the most reliable ways to get an output to an input.
Cables are great. I love cables. So any other questions? Can I get to the? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So imagine this. Now we're gonna work in Luna to record Michael, and to make that happen, I need Luna to tell Ableton, yo, play, or yo, stop. And I need Luna to tell Ableton, hey, we're on back 24, dude. Please play bar 24.
Yep.
So to do so, we need to, I'm going to do it with you in real time. We need to enable, you could do it with cable too, but in this case, it's easy. We're going to, if you open your audio MIDI setup on your Mac, don't ask me questions about Windows. The only thing I know to do with Windows is look out a window. That's all I know how to do.
Yeah.
For Windows question, oh no, Luna is not on Windows.
Exactly.
So it doesn't work.
It's
Great,
all irrelevant.
So on your Mac, IAC driver is in the MIDI studio. It's called Audio MIDI Setup. And inside Audio MIDI Setup, you have the MIDI studio. You have to enable it.
Yep.
Boom. Step one. Okay. Step two. Go to Luna and go to your preferences. It's Command, comma, or you can go here and settings. And let me get rid of zoom. Boom. And go to MIDI. Now you're going to see that there's an IAC driver here, and this.
By default, it's gonna be at 0.
0. Obviously, we tested this so that we don't embarrass ourselves in front of you, lovely people. So this basically tells Luna, okay, send MIDI clock out to the IAC driver bus 1. Okay, then you go to, and song mode is important. Be in song mode, okay?
Yep.
Then you go to live, and you go to live preferences, and you will see that the IAC driver is here, input, and you have to make sure in this environment right here, and you have to make sure that sync is on.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. So IAC turned on in the MIDI button, audio MIDI settings, sync turned on inside of Ableton, sync output inside of Luna. So everything
Right.
is now, we're now sending sync out of Luna, receiving it inside of Ableton.
Exactly.
Almost.
So
That's basically it. Oh, there's one or two more
one
steps,
more
right?
step, but this is where it's interesting. So when you're working in this environment, and one of the reasons to do it this way is, say, for example, I'm working here on this section, and I click play. I'm in Ableton right now, right? And then Mikael says, can you, just for the take, can you mute the harp? I can, because it's not stemmed out, or it's not a stereo thing. So now I can. So I can work in Ableton like this, but when I know that I'm going to switch back to Luna to record Mikael, I have to set up external. You see up here on the upper left, if you click here, this tells Ableton, hey, someone's going to give you some information, and that would be Luna. So I switch back to Luna and to my timeline. And if I click, we were bar 9, 9. Let me mute the click. It's in the queue.
It's in your queues. Also, Fab, when you get a chance, one thing we forgot to check in audio hijack. Our listen to latency is at 2 seconds right now. We can probably pull that back down. Let's pull that back down to 0.5.
Well, you don't like to hear things very, very behind the beat.
I was like, man, there's a big lag, and oh yeah, we said that was from the ATR show.
Yes. So how's this?
Much better.
Okay, great. So you just saw me press play in Luna, and you can see that. Let me show you. I'm gonna do this. You can see that now Ableton answers to Luna. In those cases, I like to do this because I have a marker. I'm too lazy to copy the markers over.
I was like, we did this. Matt showed it really quickly, his setup yesterday, and he had copied a few of the markers over to be able to get through it. But yeah, this is actually this is not a bad way. Just pull the transport down a little bit.
Laziness rules, baby. Yeah. Laziness brings you all the good solutions. So, and it's instant, and it just works. Now, I recommend you do this before you start going crazy on music. Is go to the end of your session somewhere where there's nothing in Ableton.
Yep.
Okay. And enable your click in Luna, and enable your click in Ableton, and then you will see that.
Can you turn on the click for on the monitor as well for us, so we can hear the Luna click?
Yes, it should be.
No, in the click window you got there. Yep.
So now you can hear that the groove is questionable at best. That's because it takes a while for the information to get to Ableton from Luna. Ableton is not necessarily the tightest, best listener. Is not a good listener. Ableton is not a good listener. So you have to tell it, okay, wait, listen. So to do so, what I do is I go to the end of the session, I turn both clicks on, and then I use this delay system here to align them. Okay, so the more you go, there you go. So yeah, that's fine. That's good enough for jazz. So this is a one-time setup. You're basically calculating the time difference between the two, and then the system remembers it, and you're good to go. So now we are ready to record, right? And so I'm literally don't really have to look at Ableton. Right now I'm doing this because I like to have the markers, but it's not necessary. I could, if I had the markers, I could go here. If I knew the bar numbers, I could come here. And so the great advantage of this technique to work this way is, for example, if I want to go back and I have my stuff here, if I want to go back and work with just my Ableton session, I can turn external off and do my thing.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome that way, you know.
Yeah, so you can kind of bounce back and forth. So if you, and I run into this all the time, where like, I kind of forget that Luna's the master clock at that point, and you go back to Ableton or Machine, whatever you're using, and like you start pressing play, like, well, I want to go. Oh yeah, wait, it's waiting for sync to go.
By the way, Machine is tight. Like Machine, which because I tested a bunch of stuff, and Machine has almost no swag.
Yeah,
like it's on, and there's lots of other machines that are on. It's just Ableton wasn't designed, and necessarily that's not its forte. But it works great, you know.
Yeah.
It works.
Well, that's the thing that's, you know, for people who are wondering, like in the background, everything that's receiving MIDI clock, all it's doing is measuring the distance between the different clock inputs. So that's why you may see it even in the Ableton, you'll see that 97 kind of fluctuate up and down little bits every once in a while, and it's trying to even that out as best it can. But it can always make for some funkiness. So like a big thing to know is, like, if you have a session that has tempo changes in it, it may get some funkiness on a tempo change, like especially if you try to change it in real time. A snap to tempo change seems to work okay, but like any ramps and you know, very delicate tempo things that are going on, your experience with MIDI sync may not be the greatest, but it all kind of depends on the destination. So like Fab mentioned, Machina is a super stable one. You know, a couple of my hardware drum machines seem to receive it very well.
I'm going to show you a little bit later. Full disclosure. Can you show this?
Yep, we can see it.
So I'm gonna use that next a little bit later. That there's literally no lag.
Yeah,
like none. It's on. So it really depends on the client, you know. Totally. The client being the person receiving the DAW receiving the MIDI clock, you know. The TR, that guy is super tight also.
Yep.
Especially with the actual, for some reason I don't understand, with the physical MIDI, like the vintage.
Yeah. Well, and that's I can, you know, confirm 100%. Like for me, physical MIDI seems to be much more stable, reliable than even like USB MIDI. I can't explain why, but I found the same thing in all the experiments I've done on my system.
Yeah, that it kind of puzzled me, because but it works, and it's really fun. I'll show you in a moment. So let's Michu is about to fall asleep right here. So
I'm relaxed.
So let's actually do what we did all this for. So I want to create a new track in Luna, and I'm going to call it Guitar 1 because I'm a genius at naming stuff. And put him on input, and you'll see that it's important that you understand that you have to be in ARM, right? Real-time monitoring, so that you can get all the benefits of no latency. So when we were making sure that everything worked earlier, I said, do you have latency? And he was like, no, none. It's always a surprise. So he's plugged into the high Z input, the DI input of my X4, right here.
Right there.
What's the guitar?
It's a Fender Telecaster, very original, with a custom neck made by Warmoth Guitars.
Custom neck Warmoth guitar. And what these look like Seymour.
That's a mini humbucker made by Seymour Duncan.
Okay,
and,
so it's,
I forget what this is. Also, I don't know. I think it's pretty classic Fender.
Classic Fender. Okay, cool, great. So he's plugged into my Apollo X4 DI, which is in my system C. And so in theory, if there's justice in the universe, we should be able to hear guitar. There's no justice in the universe. No, it's my fault. Here, justice in the universe. Go ahead. Okay.
There we go.
So that's because we have to use a weird routing to be able to get it both to us, to you, to the universe. Let's. The first thing I'd like to do is create a basic tone, and then go from there. So I was just showing Michu the Fender, which is an unbelievable, just absolutely unbelievable thing. Can you? I like this. I tend to like this speaker always.
Dude, I love the greenback 25.
Yeah. This is nice too. Brighter, but for this guitar, I think this is gonna go. Okay, great. And so let's see. Just. Oof. Little distortion is nice. Mieux l'autre. Yeah. What do you think? You okay with that?
Yeah, I was just going for something a little bit more transparent.
Let me see. Well, transparent. It's me. I'm crushing it. You like that?
Right now. Right.
Okay, great. So then, so this is Michu going in real time in Luna, and then do you want to tune? Let's just make sure that it's in tune. So I'm going to use the BX tuner, and I'm going to park it there.
Right on the money.
Wow, it's nice.
Not on right on the
It's a little bit sharp.
Yeah, but sometimes
There you go.
And Fab, after we get all in tune here, let's bring our audio or listen to delay down a little bit more if we can. Let's try like 0.3, 0.2, because there's a little slap between your Zoom mic and what we're hearing on the feed.
Sorry guys, that's the problem with humans.
I know, right?
Fortunately, now they make really great guitar plugins, so I don't need to work with them that much. So that's nice, you know, because it's French, it's difficult. French people, ugh. So let's see, 0.3. There you go.
Let's try it. Can you try just a couple? Let's get this dialed in so that way everything's good. Nice.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same. That's you guys are experiencing the same thing. It's like when I work a lot with Michael, and we always come up with sounds like this. And we've been using we did that record, the Trending Tropics record. Trending Tropics, check it out. It's on almost all Michael on guitar, and we did most of the tones with aux on the Universal Audio box and some of my tube amps. And so I always have to imagine what it's going to be like when I don't hear the strings in real time in front of me.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes they're surprises, not always good ones. So great. So let's create a tone now. So for that, what do you want? Do you want a delay? Do you want
like a delay,
chorus,
a reverb, and a chorus? Yeah, would be good.
Okay, well, a delay, a reverb, and a chorus. Today is like
stack them up. 1, 2, 3.
Works.
Here's the CE one, which tends to be really great. Cool. I dig that. The delay, I like to use the EP. Oh no, you like the Korg one, right? Let's use the EP for this part.
For this part, we have
This is great.
Yeah.
Let me dial this. And now, because we're in Luna and Luna knows the tempo, I can work to sync. I don't have the console thing. Check this out. That let's just check against the track, like on the chorus. I think chorus was about 21. You make sure to get zoom out of the way. Yeah, try. Less of the echo, and I don't know, I think it should sound a little weirder, so maybe more of the chorus. And then I'm gonna, by the way, I'm using the 55 as a unison preamp so that it really feels like the amp. And then what did I do?
The chorus got knocked out when you added the tape.
That's what it is. More of the stuff that's no longer there.
Yeah.
Try that. Yeah.
Better probably, no?
Yeah. I like that. Let's check it out in the track. by the way, Ableton is just hanging out in the background doing his thing,
Yeah.
playing the track,
just playing along, just having fun in the
playing
background.
along while I'm working in Luna, which is really, really practical. So, okay, that's pretty cool. Let's do it. Do you want to do a take?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a take.
Is it really that easy?
Yes, it is. Here we go. Okay, cool. So one of the advantages of working with Luna is that you could do playlists, or sorry, versions. I'm still using my Pro Tools lingo. So this is the take he just did. You can do another one.
Yeah.
Here we
Same
go.
idea, exact.
Huh?
We
Yeah,
did the
it's
exact
cool.
same part.
I like when you do can get.
Okay.
That would be great. Okay, here we go.
Mhm.
Sounds great. So that's the workflow. Now, to me, the freedom of being able to work this way, but not have to freeze the Ableton arrangement in time
Mhm.
is key. Because now I have several options. We're going to do lots of different sounds because when you have a guitar player like this, you abuse the hell out of him.
Extract
to
as
me-
much inspiration as you can.
Exactly. To me, the part that's really wonderful here is that I can, if I want to go back to Ableton, I can fly these tracks back to Ableton with the really powerful export features in Luna,
Mhm.
no problem. Everything will be tight.
Yep.
If I want to work the other way, I can keep working this way with the two sessions open.
Mhm.
Or I can, decide, okay, this is cool, and bring everything from Ableton to here because I know that it's a freeze on the arrangement and I can start working. So let's see. I'm thinking I want to try another sound.
Yeah.
So I like when you do these African things. So let's call it something intelligent, like say guitar 2, and get this one off record, this one in record. Let me see. Are you there? Check, check.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, the volume was,
The volume's down.
but still. the volume was-
Me neither. That's because I haven't done this. There you go. And so for that, we could let's try the Fender again. Let's
The
see.
MPEG was nice too. You just
yeah.
want to use it for something different.
I just want to check this out and see what it does. So lately I've been using this an inordinate amount. I mean, we got to be honest. That's great. I just copied the delay,
Nice.
but I'm thinking, yeah, cool. That's cool. I think I'd like a reverb too. So I'm gonna make a bus, and like this, a stereo bus. I'm gonna call it reverb. Makes sense.
Great name.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm considering a career in naming.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm going to put the BX20 on there because I love how that thing sounds. And the thing that's really awesome here is I can have Mishu track through the BX20 in real time with no latency because I can put it into the ARM bus. So now you should have reverb. It's better if you put it in. Go ahead. Make it stereo. let's go to the verse part, which is bar 9, and try and do something. Just jam for now. Just jam, and then we'll record it after. Yeah.
So,
Cool. The sound, but I think that a lot of people don't think, because they're playing a guitar, to try other things. For example, I'd like to try the MPEG on the guitar thing. So let's get rid of this guy. My mouse is.
But that's a bass amp, Fab. How?
I know.
You're breaking
I know,
all the rules, man.
Sue me. Whatever. Yeah, I'll give you my address for the suing part.
There we go.
Let's try this.
And what is it about the MPEG that?
But you can hear just how thick it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I just love how it sounds. Go ahead.
it sings a little bit more also.
Yeah.
The notes are breathing more.
Oof. A little less of this. I really like this. And we're doing all this in real time, which is pretty awesome. Also, I'm thinking we want to do something a little more like Afro-centric. I did it again. I'm schizophrenic. Hold on. There you go. This one. I was here. Sorry, I lost my sound, but I'll get it back in a second. Go ahead. Sounds good. So, do this. I love it. You know?
I love that flange on there too.
Yeah, it's great. Woo, nice. Let's see how it sounds in the track. It's better with the 8th note. Oh, that's super. That was really nice. Yeah. Let's see if you can you make a part that has that in it?
Let's try.
Like yeah. Yeah. C'était bien ça.
That was
This last thing at the end, can you develop that part, like so it's more melodic like that?
Yeah,
Por favor.
of course.
We're Spanish.
Just the end.
So
I only speak Spanish among.
yeah.
Claro.
So I'm gonna make a playlist. And do you think?
I'll try.
Okay. That's great.
That's
so
badass.
now you understand why it's interesting to me for time to be tight when Michael is playing. Because where he plays, where he puts it in time is what makes the track rock. So you don't want, there's some, there's nothing more infuriating than playing something and then you press stop and then you press play again on your DAW and the DAW plays it back differently than what you just played. That drives me insane. I have been known to curse in weird languages repeatedly, which is why, to me, when I was lucky enough to be on the, inside to know that LUNA was coming, that's the number one thing that I really did it for me. It's like, I know that whatever Michael is going to play back the same at the same spot without that uncertainty that drives me absolutely batty.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Especially some, this is something I think Ableton's kind of well known for, is like if you're trying to do exactly what we just did here with some plugins, with some effects on it in the Ableton track, it will record everything shifted back. So I've seen people with videos where they like make 2 tracks, to have one with no processing that records perfectly in time and one with processing that records late. It's just like, it seems like a lot of work to have to try to put something in the pocket.
That's not what it was designed to do.
Exactly.
But if you want to jam out and do a big live DJ set in Ibiza,
that's
the one.
Yep.
But to like create sounds, to create sounds with electronics, it's bananas. But to create sounds with humans, having this interaction, adding the flanger quickly, it doesn't change the feel, it doesn't change anything. It really, that's what, to me, that is worth the small sacrifices that we still have to make, because it is a 1.1 and it's amazing that it does everything it does. I can't even get over it, but it doesn't do everything.
Yeah.
But it does, for me, especially with this release, the groups and the versioning and this MIDI clock. It's taking a giant step forward in the groups and the versioning. Like, for example, now I know I can do full live band sessions, because without groups, it was more a writing tool or a mixing tool for me up till now. But with the groups, I'm able to tackle monster sessions and do do live drums, full band, which is what I have a project where it's going to be all Luna from start to finish, which we'll do on Pure Mix. And I will do a song from start to finish 100% in Luna. Full band, cues, production, tracking, mixing, all of it.
Huge.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who were watching the beginning of Tales from the Switch, the other show, Nesrin's first song is out.
Oh, it is?
It came out Friday. So awesome. I'll send you the link. Yeah. And
it's already up on Spotify?
It's up on Spotify. It's called Risala. Rissala. And it's straight from Luna to Spotify.
Amazing. Yeah. I've got Spotify up here on my screen right now. So Nesrine, Nesrine, and Risala. So that's awesome.
It just came out. So I haven't listened to what Spotify did to my mix. But because but it is straight like export from Luna, Spotify.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
pretty
amazing.
cool.
And we're also we've got one more episode left with the Tales from the Switch with Lewis and Will song.
Yeah.
Everyman.
Everyman next week. I'll mix it in real time.
Next Tuesday. That's going to be a big one.
Yeah. And now that I have groups.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's going to be even nicer.
It's going to make my life a little easier. Great. So a couple more things we'd like to do. I'd like to show you another sync thing.
Yeah.
Just so you see the same process again. Okay. So I have here my trusty OP1.
Nice.
It's my baby. I love it. I travel with it.
Yeah, same.
And it has a little speaker here. So like when you want to annoy the hell out of your girlfriend, you can like turn it up on stun and then play with it.
Because then you get the nice like the clack
distortion.
clack
Yeah,
plus
it's great.
the little
It's
tiny
awesome.
speaker.
And then it has its mini output. So the way I did it here, it's connected via a Quasimodo cable we made here at Flux, and it's going to the back of my X4, right?
Cool. Yep.
So the output of my OP1 is going to the back of my X4 on input 3/4, and my preamp is going to be here. There you go. And so I'm going to make a track in Luna.
So I noticed that you're going from an 1/8 inch to 2 XLRs. I know a lot of people use an 1/8 inch to 2/4. Is there any advantage to having this Quasimodo cable over an actual?
It's really hard to pull out an XLR out of a mic pre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Usually when you see those 1/8 inch to 2 TRS. It's an 1/8 inch to 2 RCAs with 2 TRS RCA to TRS adapters. So that's many areas where it can fail.
Yes.
Here it cannot fail.
Nice.
End of story. It's just I don't want to have to figure out why there's no sound today, you know. So let's call it OP1. OP1. There you go. Stereo. I like stereo. It's nice. And it's on the input 3/4 of my C line. I have a lot of interfaces here. And I'm putting on input here. And let's see what happens. I see it here. Oh, but
Q1.
I have to put it in the Q. Oh, you can hear it, right?
Yep.
Okay. So great. So now let's go back to our preferences, and I'll show you something cool. So the OP1 is one hell of a hipster piece of gear. Nothing standard. Everything is, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
And so who's to say no to fun, right? So I have here the MIDI cable that comes with it. And I'm going to plug it into my keyboard so that the OP1 can receive MIDI clock. So you see when I plug it in, boom, it shows up straight in Luna right away.
Nice.
The OP1 doesn't need any delay because it is tight as hell. And the way it works, so now I have the synth going into Luna, and then I have Luna sending the same exact MIDI clock to more devices. I could do it with the TR09. I could do it with any of those other machines in the back. So then I can synchronize my whole studio to Luna thanks to the MIDI clock feature. So now I'm going here, and I'm going back to my track. It's on input right here. I'm going to get issue out of input here. So I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to have some beats, yo. And so in the OP1, as you can see, the beats are played by two monkeys. It's two little monkeys. And when you press on a beat, like this, if you choose the right sound, I don't hear it right now. Oh, why is it not happy? Oh, because I'm...
Is it waiting for sync now?
It's waiting for sync. So if I go back to the sequencer, when I play something, you can see the monkey playing it. So that's really, really crucial. You know?
You gotta train the monkey with whatever beat you want it to play.
Exactly. And they also have an effect that's a cow. This is pretty cool. So you can run your stuff through a cow, which is something I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily you don't have to harm the cow to do it this way. This is
exactly.
vegan friendly.
Yeah, voila, no cows were harmed. So it's pretty cool. I really dig this thing. And the way you force it to sync is you hit the metronome, and then the green button. All these buttons are multifunction. The thing that's amazing about the OP1 is, if you had showed it to me and I said, this is so weird, nobody's going to have the patience to figure it out. And then I was wrong as always. So you put it to sync, and now the OP1 is actually listening to Luna. So if I play our track from Luna here, and I can add the bass drum from the OP1. And everything's in sync. So maybe, it's cool.
And so the monkey drummer is kind of in the background there, right? So you're basically, for anyone that's not familiar with OP1, essentially each key now, when he's in this sequencer mode, is triggering a different pattern from the monkey. It's
a pattern, It's a pattern-driven thing. Sorry. So I could also play it, but the idea here is I'm sending the MIDI clock. I have all these cool little beats. Sorry for the bouncy thing. So there's this one. This one, and if you look at the monkeys, And one of the things I like about this, it's easy to change the pocket on the OP1. You can make it feel a little forward, a little backwards with just a little bit of this little green dot there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for our thing, I thought this would be cool. And you can play two at once because there are two monkeys. So, and two monkeys are better than one. So say the monkey on the left is going to play the bass drum. And the monkey on the right is going to play the reggaeton thing. Hard to resist, right?
Right.
So you can also, they have a hold. So I could do, well, it'd be better. Wow, so I screwed up when I played it, but. So now I have this running. So why don't I make a tone for it here in Luna? So maybe like 1176 would be nice.
This is one of my favorite things to do with OP1, OPZ, with any of these.
It's awesome.
Adding a touch of UAD effects to it, adding some compression, a little bit of EQ, whatever. Like, it does so much to the sound.
I like
so
this
fast.
better. Yeah, baby. So the reason why it's playing is because it's on hold over there, all right? I put a hold on it. So I'm going to saturate it a little bit much. I like that.
You're not going for like a clean, you've got clean drums already in Ableton.
Yeah, plus, yeah, and this is, and the drums in Ableton are kind of like, you know, Sam. Just give it some snap back up. So that's cool. I'm gonna get rid of the hold. I'm gonna go back to sync. External sync. There you go. And go back to the monkeys. Say hi. There you go. And then I'm gonna maybe the pocket could come in on the chorus, like around here. And I hit it at the wrong time. Set it up wrong here. Don't try this at home, folks. I'm a trained professional here.
What are you having to tweak?
I don't know. I think I am just not hitting it right because of the latency in my headphones because of the loop back. So let's see. We're just going to record it for a second and see how that works.
Because there's for dialing in MIDI sync stuff, the other method, I showed this real quick
tell me
yesterday.
what I don't know. Yeah.
Well, is to record a little bit of it. So by recording a piece in, you can then identify very precisely to like the millisecond how far off a sync is, and then go in and make a clock adjustment.
Let's do that. I'm just going to do the bass drum for now because I'd like to have the stuff separate. So let's see what it says. It's early, so maybe it's not as tight as I thought it was. So I'm going to go back to my preference here and delay it a little bit. And let's do that again. Where am I? Here. Okay, that's cool. On my laptop, which died yesterday, it was perfect. On this gigantic desktop, it needs delay.
It also might be sometimes the USB ports on Apple keyboards don't have the highest bandwidth.
Right. One thing you need to know is USB carries ground somehow, and that I did not know. So if you plug your OP1 or your TR or whatever your hardware unit into your system USB, and all of a sudden it sounds like then it's not you, honey. It's USB. So, and the thing that's really frustrating is you plug into a different USB port, and it starts working again.
So there's
Mind-boggling.
a couple of devices I've run into this problem many a time. There's these little like 1/8 inch ground loop eliminators that they sell on Amazon for like $10-20.
Okay.
This works the best that I've tried, but there's also they make a USB ground lift, which allows you to ground lift the USB device. This I haven't had as good a success with. So the one
I am so buying one.
Yeah, that's why I have one of. They're both sitting over there where the OPs live because it's a constant struggle. They did add some stuff to the firmware. I know on the OPZ it's really easy to turn off the charging, which eliminates the noise immediately. On the OP1,
you have to go through a whole bunch
there's
of
another.
stuff.
There's a way to disable charging, but it's not.
There's a menu of a menu of a menu.
Yeah.
I think it's Shift Comm 4, if I remember well. But it's important that to know that there's hope.
There's a hardware solution. There's an analog solution to the problem.
I love it. Analog solution to the digital problem. Try this again. I'm going to give myself a click because I'm worth it. Just not loud. That's a little better. And well, you get the vibe. I mean, this is boring, but I have to set it up so that it's happy.
This is the thing that tweaking the settings until you get it feeling good.
Still a little forward. Let me check something. No, it's not moving. What am I doing wrong, boss?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. Well,
because in theory, every time you move the delay in the MIDI sync, it should be delaying the clock to the OP1.
Yes, it should. I think there's something in the OP1. I've been doing this nonstop for years with the OP1, and it works bananas. And of course, today, because someone's watching, it's not gonna work. let's just be overt with the delay. And oops, hi! I forgot we had Ableton running too.
Right, this has been Ableton's just riding along in the background.
It's in the back. Thanks for coming, Ableton. Let's see. Yeah, it's still rushing. So that is something on me. I don't know what it is.
Something to maybe try real quick. In the MIDI clock preferences, do you have it? Is it on pattern mode or song mode?
Song.
Try real quick on pattern mode. So song mode, just for people to know, song mode is transmitting bar 21 this beat, whereas pattern mode is just like beat 1. It's bar agnostic. So I'd be curious to know if this changes anything.
No, still forward.
Yeah.
Which is the experience that you usually have tracking this kind of stuff in other DAWs when you're playing. And it is, I don't know what it is, and this is really pissing me off.
So what's the so if someone runs into the same issue when they're working with this stuff, what's you can futz with it forever, or
just do that.
Yeah. There's the
that will always work. Removing the thing that is in sync with itself. So then I can lower this, make a loop out of it, and get rid of those two things that are not relevant, and get rid of that. Boom. And then maybe I'm going to duplicate this and record the other one because I really dug the sound of that. Duplicate. Here we go. Get rid of that. And record this guy like this. Here we go. It wasn't me. It'll work better when I put it in the queue. You're gonna love it when it's the queue.
I mean, we loved it from the beginning because we're getting the main out.
Yes. Oh, that's right. I'm completely in the dark here. Let's get it away. Like, there you go. And the winner is here. Poof. Do my push back. I think it's going to feel good about here. That's cool. And there you go. Get rid of this guy. This guy here. Use the cube. Boom, 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 boom. All right, cool. Now let's do another guitar.
Yeah.
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 He's just getting bored over there.
No. Never.
So guitar 3. Let's see. Good.
And this is kind of a typical. This seems like kind of a typical production workflow, right? It's basically like
Pretty much, yeah.
you're trying to gather ideas, you're trying to gather loops, ideas, sections, parts, and the goal here is just to move as quickly as possible from bit to bit, right?
Absolutely. Especially in a writing environment, especially for something like a pop song like this, or something, speed is key.
Yeah.
You can't really wait to do other things like, oh, let's go get that other amp. Never gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. So you have to do it now, or if it doesn't happen now, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so this is why before Luna, console was amazing because you could do these quick sounds, but now you could do it in Luna, and you can switch very quickly, and you could do it in the DAW. You don't have to switch windows, and now you can sync your other DAW to Luna to be able to work in this environment, because this is real time. It's the same as having the hardware. It sounds really good too. So there's no compromise. Like, I don't feel like I'm compromising because I'm using Luna. I also get the Luna or using virtual amps, and I can also use the hardware here, the hardware controller on my X4 to control the gain. It's so fast.
Yeah.
Let's do that like that. Like Michu had a great idea for an arpeggio thing on the chorus earlier. I want you to hear it because it's so cool. So we had a lot of reverb, and then I had put some delay. I think it was a chord delay or something. Yeah. Really trippy. This is nice. I'm gonna sync it, one of the advantages, and then we're gonna use Whew. How cool is that?
That sounds so cool. So
I really
dreamy.
like it. Yeah, it's really trippy. So let's see a place where it would work. Like, I think like the top of the chorus, it would be a cool like hit. And I'm gonna adjust the sound a little bit while you play. Here's one bar. I'm gonna get rid of the click. Here you go. More feedback. You know what? I'm gonna put a. Sorry to interrupt. I want to put a compressor on this because I want it to be like to have this strength.
So yeah, what do you mean by strength, Fab? Like what?
Like, I just want it to go. I don't want it to go. I want it to have like this steady vibe. Try it. That's cool. Just listen in the context. Woo! Awesome. Let's do that again. That was fun. Let's do that again. Boom. Ready? Cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I really dig that a lot. So you get a little bit of the workflow idea of working with these other things. So what would happen at this point? A lot of copy paste. Do you have other ideas? Do you want to do something else? What do you have in mind? Do you have something in mind? Do you want to play a Van Halen style solo over it?
Wow, that'd be great. No, you can play it with some whatever we did with
Which sound?
the second sound, I guess.
Let's try
One
that.
was more like with the muted part.
Try it.
Could put me on a verse or something like that.
Let me see.
And this is a good chance to show off one of the cool tricks of doing this inside of Luna is that you say go back to the second guitar sound.
And you're back.
Uh-huh. That's amazing.
It's really nice. And then the old playlist is here. So what do you want to do?
Maybe
On the chorus?
On the verse, maybe.
On the verse, okay.
Maybe something a bit more-
Why don't I just let you play?
Yeah, sure.
Because that's always a pleasure.
It's like everyone's really enjoying the Telly riff. Everyone's just mega compliments on the parts and how they sound.
Yeah. The thing with Mikael is you're gonna say, what do you feel like playing? And then 3 hours later, you have 800 ideas. You ready?
Yeah.
C'est parti. Not bad.
For as an example of, dude, that's
So-
incredible.
Ideas, yeah.
I love this part right here. This, like, I would go back and make something out of this. Then, like, those two bars are really,
Yeah.
really special. And this is cool too. Love it. And by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was copy pasting and making the arrangement happen while he was playing, recording through plugins in real time, which
Yeah.
is pretty awesome. So that is the basic thing of the show. I had asked if stereos could come down and join us for a second.
Mhm.
Because we work a lot together. We made this track together. So Stereos has been working in Ableton for the longest time, and we did the Lolo Zuai record.
Mhm.
He produced it. I just came in to mix it. And I was looking at his workflow, and he does everything in Ableton. Everything in Ableton. So now his new workflow is different. He's working with Luna now. There he is. No, that's me. Let me see. I'm not.
Well,
let me see.
And Fab, before we go, did have a good question here asking about
all the questions you want
about bringing. So we've now tracked ideas here into Luna. So now, say you want to take this back into your Ableton project to keep on producing and keep on moving forward with the session. How would you recommend people do that?
Very simple. You select the stuff and you go to export right here. And then export all tracks as files, and that's it. You're in sync. Done. You export them, drag and drop them into, this dialog, right, guys? You export them where you want them to be.
Yep.
You select what you want to be. You can change the names, and then you bring them in Ableton. It'll take you a solid 30 seconds.
Gotcha. So there was a question about, specifically about gain staging for these things. Any recommendations about how to nail it so you're not either blowing it out or coming in way too cold?
Yes. The thing that's interesting with Ableton is when I get stems from Ableton, they tend to be super quiet. I don't know why. Stereos and I now have a system because we know where we're gonna end up in the end. So my stems in Ableton tend to be just right. But one thing you could do, because levels creep up. It's not you, honey. Not you.
It's everyone.
It's everyone. All guilty. So what you could do, what I recommend you do, is get yourself a meter or something, and then go here into your master in Ableton, and then pad your master. See, I padded my master 6 dBs here.
Gotcha.
And the reason why I did that is I want to be able to have the sweet spot in the guitar, so that the guitar is recorded at the right level, hits the unison preamp at the right level, and everything feels good. If you have to jack it up, then you're not going to be able to get cleaner sounds because everything's going to get blown out. So the simple way of doing it is just lower the output of Ableton into your track. And if you're somebody who works with a mix bus in Ableton, and in this case, I think Stereos and myself, we do have a little bit of Saturn. He likes to use this Saturn thing, and he's a friend, so I let him do it.
But that it's such an important part, and like this is the biggest thing, especially when you're in the mode of just producing, right? You're not really thinking a ton about levels.
No.
But just finding using the master out or using your main out, like using those.
There's no shame.
Pull that down.
There's no shame. Yeah, there's no shame in bringing the master down for the moment while you're recording this, so that you work in the best possible environment. And then once you work in the best, as you can see, all the levels here are extremely metrosexual. Like everybody is, nice. And so that allows me to use the plugins at their sweet spot. That's really, really important, because the UAD plugins are very, very accurate models of the original, which means that the gain staging is also accurate model of the original. And sometimes, if you don't pay attention, that could be a problem, because if you hit a Pultec on stun, then you're not going to get what you need out of it. You're just not.
You're gonna be you'll be blowing up the tubes and transformers. You're driving into them with so much level that they're just it's going to color the sound possibly a way that you want. But if you're doing it unintentionally, it may not
happen. And then you wonder why everything is a little fizzy, And so the thing is, for me, also, since you interact with other humans, it's a good thing to do, especially these days. It's nice to not send somebody to someone that's like completely overblown. Because then they can't work. Usually Ableton is the other way around, because people have so much gain on their mix bus. Then when they stem out, they have a limiter on stun. You get like, literally, you think that somebody's sending you an empty wave. That happens to me all the time. But that's not the problem. The problem is that there's so much gain on the output that they're very timid about gain staging in their session. With this technique, you're able to see on the general meter of Luna where your music stands right away. So if something is like peaking when you bring in, when you're like, hola, that's not cool. So you can go in Ableton, or you could pad it here in your return track if you do that.
Yep.
You know, but I'd like to remind everybody that, you know, the return track, this is a cool technique. You don't have to do that. You can have Ableton and Luna talk to the Apollo driver and everything goes out.
Yep.
You don't even have to think about it, you know, but it's nice to be able to have a little level control for Ableton in Luna.
Yeah. So Lucas is asking, like, what is the sweet spot for recording with UAD interfaces these days?
The UAD interfaces are aligned. The converters are aligned. You have two choices, but I think they come by default at around -16 dBFS.
Yep.
Equals 0 VU. So if you imagine yourself in an old school environment where you had a console and a VU, and a VU is an average meter, right? It's not a peak meter. So you record your vocal and your VU goes to 0. That's going to be -16 in Luna. So and actually will be -16 in Ableton if you use an Apollo too.
Yeah,
you know,
because
the interface.
Yeah,
the interface decides the gain staging. However, don't forget that that's the average level.
Yeah, which
your
is
peak
very
levels are going to be
peak.
higher. Yeah, your peak levels are going to be higher than that because every sound has a peak and an average level, and the difference between the two is its dynamic range. So if you have a snare drum, there's going to be a very big dynamic range.
Yeah,
and then if you have a pad, it's going to be very little dynamic range. And so if you record a snare drum at -16 and a pad at -16, they're going to sound like they hang together, but the snare will have a big peak and the pad will have a small peak.
Yeah.
And so you have to be conscious of that. So it's nice to have a meter. If you can't feel it yet because you're not used to it, or you don't have presets in your mind, you know, like when I plug my guitar into my X4 and I use the Fender, my level should be at 1.5 and then I'm about right.
Yeah.
That will become a habit, you know? If you don't yet have that, then it's nice to look at a meter. I have a meter coming out soon, no later than very soon. It's called Decibel. It's great. It works with Luna. I have it here, I think. I have it on. I put it on my sessions. This thing right here.
Yeah.
So this lets you know everything you need to know.
Gives you a good sense of where you're at RMS wise too.
RMS, everything. But there's some free ones too. The built-in ones in Luna are good. They're not as detailed as they could be, and I'm sure they will be one day, but you can download ULean, or there's a bunch of free VU meters, and then you align that to -16, and then you just look at the needle and you're like, okay, I'm right. You know? Yeah. And that works good. And that's the way to do it. But to a very long answer to that, I could have said -16 is where it's at with Luna and an Apollo of any generation. Totally. And then there's another setting in the new Apollos where you can click a relay, and they go to -20.
Yeah. You want to show people where that is real quick?
So that's in hardware.
Yep.
And here am I. So don't. This tells you how much where the clipping point is. So if you get it down to, so you have +24, +20. So basically you either -16 or -20 dB FS or headroom. So why would you switch to -20? Say you're recording classical music with crazy dynamics, then you have 20 dBs before clippings and gives you more range.
Yeah.
If you're doing pop music or pop music, if you're doing any music that doesn't need insane dynamic range, and pop, jazz, hip hop, whatever, you're fine at 16.
Yeah. Well, and and it's a big thing too, especially if you're integrating your studio with analog hardware. This, notice you've got yours on the +24. I keep mine on +24 as well, because it's essentially it's going to be coming in and out with a little bit more headroom, but where 0 is lowered by 4 dB. So you're coming in a little bit softer to all your devices, giving them a little bit more breathing room above 0 out of your interface.
So in my rack, I have a bunch of is this still working?
No, I think you left the meeting. Yeah,
it died. It actually died. But I have a pair of Mercuries Pultec knockoffs.
Uh-huh.
And they're actually kind of their own thing at this point. And then I have a pair of Chandler LTD2s, which are like 2254 style compressors. And then I have this crazy German compressor. And then here in my rack right here, there's like some dangerous stuff. And it's an old Neumann mastering EQ from the 60s. And that thing, if you feed it too hard, it sounds awful.
Yeah.
But if I give it 20 dBs of headroom, then it sounds bananas, like really, really great. And so I wish I could show you this. Oh, wait, no. It's because it fell asleep. I'm a genius. Hold on. Can you see me now?
Yep.
I can see you now. So that's my Tantra stuff. And then there's the Neumann. And the Neumann is now paired with a Smart C2 that I just got from David Kahn. And then there's Ivana's Magnet Pultec. And those things, this guy and this guy, they don't like to be manhandled. They like to be treated, kindly. This guy, the GML, can take anything.
Yeah.
Can't clip it. And this guy also is cool. It's a German limiter that my friend Stefan makes. And it's called Rockruppel Limit 1. And he can take any level. That's why it's last in the chain.
Nice.
But in my chain, I have two units that can't really be beat up. And for that, I need to be able to lower the headroom. And I'll show you the guys I was discussing before. So those are the Mercuries. They're like EQP. They're called EQH ones. They're like Pultecs with very similar EQ points, very smooth. The TG one, that's very touchy-feely. You got to be very gentle with that. And then the LTD2s over there, and then that German, the Rockruppel comp 2 there. It's wonderful. This one doesn't have the girls in the meters. They had an original one with girls on the swing in the meters.
They took it out from subsequent versions, didn't they?
Yeah, because they ran out of them. It was a lot more stylish with 50s pinups in the meters.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to that question. What else you got for questions?
Looking through here, the people asking about so does MIDI Clock Sync work with Logic Pro X? It does not. So Logic and Pro Tools, I think Studio One, Cubase, there's a bunch of DAWs that are similar to Luna where they only transmit MIDI beat clock, they don't receive it. So yeah, it's not, you wouldn't be able to link together like we just showed off here with Ableton. Ableton does accept MIDI sync in, Machine accepts MIDI sync in, and then tons of groove boxes and hardware like MPC will also accept it. And I saw there's a question in here earlier, someone asking about using this with MPC software. And yeah, this similar workflow, and actually we've got a show tomorrow with Shay Pope showing this with the MPC. Same sort of workflow, but being able to build a beat, sequencing it on the MPC, and then again using Luna to kind of drive clock and accept audio and record synths, etc. So that'll be a nice little follow up to this.
Very cool. So I think Stelios is making a trap Christmas carol right now. So I think that he's going to miss the show. But the way I'm going to let you know, because he's here and because we have access to the tools up front, I was able to show him a little bit how to, work in Ableton, because that's what he's been doing for years, and then do all his humans in Luna. And that's basically what he's doing. He just wrote me yesterday that he started to start the process in Luna now. So he's starting to make his beats and his stuff in Luna. But basically, like the new Lolo record, the new Lolo Zuai record he's working on right now, all the music creation is done in his classic style in Ableton, and then he bounces a mix because this has only been available for a day. He bounces a mix and then gets into Luna and does all the tracking of all the vocals in Luna. I'm working with him on his own record for his band called Bloom. And we did a full drum session, and it was pre-groups, so we did it in Pro Tools over there. But and at the end of the session, I was like, okay, here's your Pro Tools session. And he said, can I have them in Luna? So we had an assistant export all the playlists and put everything in Luna, and he cut everything up in Luna.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Before pre-group, so that was a decent effort to do it. That's now much simpler.
Well, now I can track,
Yeah.
and it's just for me, it's not it's a workflow and it's respect for the musician thing. I could have done it in Luna, but I had this musician that was a super. Look who's here, who has a super sub Stelly.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, everybody? This is Stelios.
What's up, Stelios?
So I had a Brian Delaney, who's an amazing drummer, in the room. I didn't want him to have to wait every time we wanted to do a new take for me to like select and everything. So now that we have groups, I'll be able to do the next Bloom drum session all in Luna. So the assistant will not have to export everything from Pro Tools to Luna. And then so Stelios, I was telling Ben and whomever is still watching that you now, at least on the Lolo tracks you're working on and some other tracks, you do your beat in Ableton and then you export a mix and then you do your human beings recording in Luna, correct?
Yes. I will never track vocals in Ableton again, ever. No, I just will never do it. I'll never do it. And guitar as well. I'll never do it.
Okay. We just did, I don't know if you caught it, with Mishu did some pretty fierce parts on Cherry Pit. So I'll be able to send you that so you can play with them. Yeah, it's really cool. So, and then for the Bloom stuff, the next Bloom drum, Stelios has a group, a band. Let's call it a band. It's two people, it's a band, right?
Yeah.
With another fantastic producer writer named Pip. It's called, so far it's called Bloom. The project's called Bloom.
Not out yet, but it exists.
It exists, it's being made. And we track live drums. So when I give you the Luna drums, what did you do with them after that? Because you're back in Ableton. So did you cut them in Luna and then shove them in Ableton to finish the processing? Or what did you do?
I processed them in Luna, and then I exported them as a stem in Ableton. Into Ableton, yeah.
And what are you going to give me for mix?
I'm going to give you the Luna session of those drums with my processing on it.
There you go. So I'm going to mix the next Bloom record in Luna now, it seems. Pretty nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. So I don't know if you checked it out, but we so I'll show you this tomorrow. Since you're making a Christmas Carol, I'll show you this tomorrow. But now we can have Luna drive Ableton without exporting stems.
Okay. Yes.
Very nice.
So explain. Yes. Okay. I'm excited to. I have to go back and watch because I have no clue how to do that myself.
I'll give you a private lesson.
Okay. Thank you.
There's no problem.
But the big advantage here, though, is now that you can send a project along. Fab can keep it inside Ableton. Mute tracks that aren't needed, or change, arrange, do anything that needs to be done live without having to let me re-export, let me do another bounce to eliminate this part or to shorten the bridge or any sort of like on the fly things. Being able to run the two of them together it allows for a much more dynamic recording process.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So what else have you been since you came and joined us? You wrote me, I think you wrote me earlier that you started a project straight in Luna instead of starting in Ableton, or the other way around. I forget. You told me there's a project you were doing.
There is something that I did. I started in Ableton. No, I've done it a couple ways. I've started tracks in Ableton, and then when it comes time for the vocals, I will just transition completely to Luna and say goodbye. And then but I have, for the first time last week, a couple weeks ago, I started a beat from scratch, like a whole song from scratch in Ableton. And I did the beat in there, then we recorded it.
You mean in Luna?
In Luna, sorry, not Ableton, Luna.
Yeah.
And then eventually I brought it back to Ableton because I'm just a bit faster at it, and there's some little tricks that I can do. And I want to have access to certain things that I haven't found plugins for in Luna yet, like a sampler or.
So what's been kind of your, you mentioned doing guitars and vocals inside of Luna. Is there anything else inside of Luna that you're really finding useful for on the production side?
Yes, I really like the Moog. I think it's great. I have one right next to me in the studio I'm at, and it looks exactly like, it sounds very close to it.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that. I think Shape is great, and I could see that becoming like a huge staple as they develop it more.
Yeah.
I really like the Spitfire samples they have in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Celeste sound is great. Even the synths are cool.
Mm-hmm.
It has just, and I've even used some of the 808 style drums in there. I think that tool is great. Mostly I've been finding though that, so with Ableton, I find that it starts to, you can hear the wheels churning, even after let's say you're halfway, you've done like a light mix on a beat or something, you know, after you're done putting down the idea and you're like, okay, I want to make the drums knock more, and you put a UAD like G bus on there, and then you start putting like the Studer A800 on a synth, and then you put Fab's Sugar on the bass, and then once you start having all that stuff, and then you have an Ampex on there to make like a synth sound old, Ableton starts to like be like, I can't do it anymore. So at that point, in the past I'll just do a save as in Ableton, export everything, and then throw it back into Ableton so it can like run smoother. But now, instead of going back in at that point, I'll generally move over to Luna, and then like continue the creation process from there, and kind of use Ableton as like a little bit of as like a little production suite when I want to warp a vocal a specific way that I know only Ableton can do.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So that way you're kind of starting in Ableton, getting to like the stage where it's starting to do some heavy lifting, and because I think a lot of people have that same experience of like, as soon as you start kind of mixing it, right, it starts feeling really heavy. It starts getting a little slower. You start playing in keyboard parts, and they're no longer like coming right back at you. And that's, this is one of the big advantage of Luna is being able to, even no matter how heavy your thing is getting, you put a track in to record, it's still real time.
Yes, exactly.
Including the VSTs, which most people can't wrap their head around.
Yes.
Not just the Shape or the Moog or the Revel. You put whatever. I mean, I like the Arturia stuff a lot. You could put the CS80. If I'm too lazy to go use that one, I could put the CS80 plugin there in Luna as a VST plugin, as an AU plugin. Put it in record, and boom, it's there. Yeah. Even in the mix, which is absolutely awesome. I love it. That's really, really, really great. And now you have, you downloaded it yesterday. I'm going to show you how to sync it today. But now you have groups too, and so that's nice. Having group editing, and then there's also session versions and bookmarks. So being able to, you can try things out. You can experiment with deleting the bridge, and then still get back to the version with it in there. You can use it for incrementing your mix as you're building. As you're doing revisions on a mix, you can go one after the other. There's so many things that you can do with it. The bookmark function is super unique. Some people are having a hard time wrapping their heads around the difference between a version and a bookmark. A version is like you do your first mix, you come back the day after, you increment. If you're a good citizen, you increment the mix number. You don't call the same thing, mix 1, mix 2, mix 3, mix 4, whatever you do. A bookmark is more like you're in the middle of your session, and somebody says, hey, how would it sound if we cut the bridge in half? So you put a bookmark before you start your work, and then you cut your bridge in half, and then you can back and forth super quick between the two of them. Yeah. And so it's kind of like a subdivision of your workflow. Yeah. And it's awesome. It's really great. I love it. I love how it's implemented, and it's quite addictive. Right. Now you're gonna say yes to a lot more destructive edits, aren't you? Yes, because when the mix starts branching out, that's the other thing. Because if you save as, then you're in a different session.
Yeah.
you know, and it's just the mind share is so different.
Right.
This is a bookmark within the same session,
Mhm.
and so you don't have to save as and create another body of consciousness. You're
Yeah.
within the same. I know it's a subtle difference, but it really is great. It changes. It takes a lot of pressure off keeping track of stuff.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
Very cool. Well, great. Well, Fab, man, this has been really awesome walkthrough of syncing Ableton together, showing how this is a powerful workflow. Like, you know, to some people it may feel like it's an extra step in the process, but it really does add a lot to be able to do guitars and synths and drum machines and keep all this stuff in sync in real time and be able to get kind of the best of both worlds going in real time.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's definitely
It's actually past the initial setup, which is a good 33 seconds.
yep.
It kind of like I forgot when we were working with Michael, I forgot that Ableton was in the background. Completely forgot.
Mhm.
The way I remind myself is I saw a track called Ableton. I was like, what? Oh, right. It's Ableton is running in the background.
Yeah.
So it is important. And we're doing it with Ableton because that is a big workflow, and because, you know, Stelios and myself do a lot of stuff together, and that's what gave me the idea of doing this, because that's the way we're going to work from this point on.
Mhm.
But if you use Machine, if you use the OP1, if you use any, or even the Pocket Operators, any of those like really creative little nerdy little things, NPCs, this is a great way to keep your workflow as it is and to use LUNA for all the stuff that those things don't do well.
Yeah.
And because recording vocals in an MPC is an extremely moderate amount of fun. So yeah, this is I think this is a very useful thing. We're going to use the hell out of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, awesome. So yeah, for everybody watching, thanks for tuning in and coming along. All the great questions. I know saw lots of questions getting answered over there in the chat. You guys are amazing. We have another show tomorrow. Again, building on this idea of using MIDI beat sync with an MPC. And again, kind of walking through the same sort of workflow of using it with a hardware MPC as the sequencer. So if you guys are using Machine or MPC, or yeah, basically any other Groovebox, be sure to check out tomorrow's show with Che Pope, because we'll be diving in even further there. And Stelios, any while we got you here, if people want to hear some more of your work and some more of the music that you guys have been making together, what's the best ones for them to check out?
Well, for me and Fab, I think it'd be great to check out the Lolo Zouai record, because that was our first big way of collaborating. Fab mixed the whole project and mix plus the project, as they say, where he helped us a lot with structuring and arrangement on certain songs, and so you can hear that collaborative process on there.
Lolo, Lolo Zouai, Zouai, fun, really fun record.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the best. Yeah, check out her first album. I think that'd be a nice introduction to everything.
Yes, and then there's one more coming, and then there's Stelios's record coming. We have 12. There's gonna be like 15 or 20 songs soon, and then there's other projects. And then for Michael, I met Michael on the Cyril Aimé records. That was the first two Cyril Aimé records. He's one of the two guitar players on there. Yeah. And then Michael also has solo records as a guitar player, as you can imagine. So
I was hoping so. Where can we find those records?
Well, I'm on all the good, on the usual platforms, and you just have to put Michael, and my last name is Valeanu, Valeanu. That's for my music, and I'm also happy to do that kind of work. People know me as a jazz guitarist, but I do a lot of studio work. So I
hire Michael on anything that requires rhythm guitars, like anything that has a pocket or ideas. You should check out the Trending Tropics record. Trending Tropics, which is Eduardo Cabras from Calle 13. That was one of his projects with Vicente Garcia, which I co-produced and mixed. And Michael plays most of the guitar, all the Afro, like Mozambique style guitars. Mikael plays all that stuff. Amazing.
Yeah.
And lots of other records. Anytime I'm hired to produce a record where there's no guitar player in the band, I call Mikael.
I can see
and
why.
Yeah, and I mixed his last solo record. I mixed your last solo record.
You did.
I did. I mixed his last solo record, and he just recorded a new solo record here.
Oh yeah, we just recorded 3 of it.
Just recorded it, not mixed yet. It's gonna happen soon. Cool.
Yes.
Voila.
Awesome. Well, great guys. Well, yeah, thank you so much for this awesome demonstration. Really cool to see how this plays everything in sync. And thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And have fun. Go out there, make some music, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Okay,
Bye. Thank you.